What if the most shocking story in the fall of a hip-hop mogul isn't the father serving time in prison, but the son who might be following right behind him? While Sean Diddy Combs sits in a New Jersey prison, convicted and contrite, the legacy he built isn't just crumbling. It's threatening to ensnare the next generation. New lawsuits allege a disturbing pattern repeated, not just in the halls of power, but on a luxury yacht and in the shadow of a father's toxic influence. Is the Combs family dynasty destined to become a multi-generational true crime saga? This is the investigation into the sins of the father, the accusations against the son, and the victims caught in between. The story of Sean Diddy Combs is a classic American arc, twisted into a modern-day tragedy. A self-made billionaire, a cultural icon who uplifted communities, and a father of 7. His public persona was one of unparalleled success. But behind the mansions, the fashion shows, and the chart-topping hits, a darker narrative was festering for decades, one that would eventually dismantle everything he built. The dam began to crack in November 2023. His former girlfriend, singer Cassie Ventura, filed a bombshell lawsuit detailing years of alleged rape and brutal physical abuse. A settlement was reached within a day, but it was too late. The door was blown open. In rapid succession, a flood of lawsuits followed from other accusers, painting a picture of a man who used his immense power and wealth to prey on young, aspiring individuals in the music industry. Allegations ranged from drugging and gang rape in the 1990s and 2000s to creating an environment of fear and exploitation. The most visceral piece of evidence came not from a legal document, but from a hotel security camera. A video from 2016, obtained by CNN, showed Combs, wearing only a robe, savagely beating and kicking Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway. The graphic footage was a tipping point for public perception. Combs was forced to issue an apology, calling his behavior inexcusable. But the damage was irreparable. The institutions that once celebrated him began to distance themselves. Howard University revoked his honorary degree. He returned the key to New York City. Federal law enforcement was already moving. In March 2024, Homeland Security agents conducted dramatic, military-style raids on his lavish homes in Los Angeles and Miami, a public spectacle signaling the gravity of the investigation. By September 2024, he was arrested in Manhattan and charged federally with serious crimes including sex trafficking and racketeering. His attorney decried it as a witch hunt, but Combs would remain behind bars awaiting trial. The trial that followed was a media circus. For weeks, the court heard harrowing testimony from women like Cassie Ventura and another known as Jane, who described being lured into relationships and then coerced into drug-fueled freak-offs and encounters with male escorts. Combs' defense strategy was to attack the credibility of the accusers, presenting text messages to suggest consent. In a stunning move, the defense rested its case in under 30 minutes without calling a single witness. In July 2024, the jury delivered a mixed verdict. They acquitted Combs of the most serious charges of racketeering and sex trafficking conspiracy. However, they found him guilty on 2 counts of transportation for prostitution, specifically for arranging travel for Jane and Ventura to engage in commercial sex. The conviction, though lesser, carried a potential 20-year sentence. At his sentencing in October 2024, the courtroom witnessed a man utterly broken. Gone was the swaggering mogul. In a 12-minute address to the judge, a sobbing Combs called his own actions disgusting, shameful, and sick. He blamed a 25-year addiction to drugs, claimed he was out of control, and apologized directly to his victims. "I have been humbled and broken to my core," he said. "I hate myself right now." Judge Arun Subramanian acknowledged Combs' philanthropy and influence, but stated that abuse is not something you can wash away. He sentenced Combs to 50 months in prison, just over 4 years, along with a $500,000 fine and 5 years of supervised release. With credit for the 13 months he had already served, his projected release date is June 4, 2028. Diddy's life is now governed by the strict routines of the Federal Correctional Institution at Fort Dix, New Jersey. Photos show a graying, bearded man in standard-issue gray sweats, a stark contrast to his former bespoke suits. Yet, even in prison, his profile is unique. He has secured what is considered a prestigious job assignment, a chaplain's assistant. He works in the chapel library, a role that offers a quieter, more private workspace than most inmates have access to. His publicist describes the environment as warm, respectful, and rewarding, and the role may allow him certain privileges, like helping manage schedules for other inmates. He is also a participant in the Bureau of Prison's most intensive drug treatment program, the Residential Drug Abuse Program, RDAP. Successfully completing this program could shave up to a year off his sentence, a clear motivation for the man who blamed drugs for his downfall. In a letter to the judge, Combs wrote, "Prison will change you or kill you, I choose to live." But the adjustment has not been seamless. Within days of arriving at Fort Dix, he faced disciplinary action for making an unauthorized three-way phone call, allegedly to coordinate a statement with his legal team. Prison officials recommended a 90-day loss of phone and commissary privileges for the infraction, which they deemed a serious offense that shows a disregard for the rules. His team argued it was a protected attorney-client call. Furthermore, a new investigation has been opened by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department into a separate 2020 allegation of sexual battery by Combs against a music producer. If charges are filed and he is convicted, he could face additional state prison time in California after his federal sentence ends. As Diddy adapts to prison life, the legal storm has expanded to engulf his children. The most detailed allegations involve his 26-year-old son, Christian King Combs. In April 2024, a lawsuit was filed by Grace O'Marcaigh, a former steward on a luxury yacht chartered by Diddy for a family holiday in St. Martin in December 2022. The suit alleges that what was sold as a wholesome family excursion quickly descended into a hedonistic environment of drugs, sex workers, and celebrities. O'Marcaigh claims that drinks were spiked, causing women to pass out unusually quickly. The suit centers on an encounter with Christian Combs. O'Marcaigh, then 25, alleges that a heavily intoxicated Christian pressured her into taking shots of tequila she believes were drugged. In the yacht's recording studio, he allegedly became violent, grabbing her arm to prevent her from leaving, then groping her and kissing her neck and face without consent. Shockingly, the lawsuit includes a transcript from microphones that were constantly recording in the studio, in which O'Marcaigh is heard telling him, "Excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that. If I want to do this, then I will." The alleged assault did not end there. O'Marcaigh claims Christian later found her and demanded she find him a place to sleep. She directed him to the yacht's cinema, where she says he blocked her exit, took off his clothes, and tried to force her to perform oral sex on him. She says she was only able to escape when someone else walked into the room. The next morning, she reported the assault to the yacht's captain. The lawsuit contains a devastating allegation that later that same day, Sean Combs paid the captain a large sum of money, after which her complaint was ignored and she was eventually fired. The lawsuit accuses Diddy of aiding and abetting his son's behavior and having premises liability for the environment he created. O'Marcaigh's life, she claims, has been shattered. Her long-term relationship ended, and she suffers from an eating disorder and epileptic seizures as a result of the trauma. The legal team for the Combs family has dismissed the lawsuit as lewd and meritless, and manufactured lies, vowing to have it dismissed. However, the suit remains active, and Christian has not been criminally charged. The allegations against Christian are not isolated within the family. In June 2025, as Diddy's trial was in closing arguments, another lawsuit accused his older son, Justin Combs, 31, and Diddy himself of a brutal gang rape in 2017. The suit claims Justin used his father's celebrity to lure a woman from Louisiana to Los Angeles with the promise of a job, where she was allegedly drugged and repeatedly raped by Justin, Diddy, and two other masked men over a weekend. The complaint states, "It appears that Combs's penchant for sexual violence is shared by his son." The Combs legal team has also denied these allegations. This paints a picture of a family culture potentially rife with entitlement and alleged abuse of power. The lawsuits suggest a pattern where the father's alleged behavior, using wealth and status to create impunity, fostering environments of drug use and exploitation, may have been observed and replicated by his sons. Christian Combs' public behavior since his father's sentencing has drawn criticism for its apparent lack of gravity. Videos surfaced of him celebrating on a New York City sidewalk after his father beat the major charges, dancing, yelling, and doing push-ups like he just won the Super Bowl. Former Diddy bodyguard Gene Deal, in a critique that went viral, called the display the actions of a clown and suggested such antics are noted by judges and prosecutors. This perceived arrogance could work against him if his own legal troubles deepen. Today, Sean Diddy Combs is inmate #XXXXX at Fort Dix. His empire is in ruins, his reputation is destroyed, and his freedom is gone for years to come. The judge, in sentencing him, expressed hope that he could find a path to redemption, urging him to make the most of a second chance. But the true legacy of his actions is still being written. It is written in the ongoing healing of survivors like Cassie Ventura, whose lawyer stated the sentence recognizes the impact of the serious offenses he committed. It is written in the courageous testimony of Jane and the other accusers who came forward. And crucially, it may be written in the future of his son, Christian. The civil lawsuit against him is a ticking clock. While it seeks financial damages, its detailed allegations, supported by photo evidence of bruises and transcripts, could at any moment attract the attention of criminal prosecutors, especially as the wider investigation into his father's circle continues. The question is no longer just about what Diddy did, but about what lessons were learned or horrifically repeated within the walls of his own home. Will Christian King Combs become a footnote in his father's scandal? Or will he be the next chapter? The house of cards has fallen, but the debris is still settling, and no one